For life, how dare he try to tell me how to raise my kids after he have abandoned us. He has some nerve. Y'all have lives to live yourself, and she can't run her life, her home, and your home too. You know what? Had you been home long enough to help me to raise them, it wouldn't be such a problem. But where were you if I was there hanging in the street doing whatever you were doing all day long? What did you do? It's wild how a family can look one way on the surface, but once the truth starts flipping out, everything flips upside down. The Braxtons have always been seen as this tight, talented group of sisters, but lately people are realizing the story music, behind the scenes, might be a whole lot darker than it looked. And instead of everyone pointing at tomorrow like they always do, the spotlight is quietly sliding towards someone nobody expected: music, Miss E herself. Every time Tamar says anything online, folks music rush in ready to call her dramatic or accuse her of doing the most. It's like she can't breathe without someone dragging her. But Tamar music is finally speaking in a way that hits different. She's saying her personality, her reactions, her loudness, all of it didn't just appear out of nowhere. She's music, pointing straight back to her upbringing. And that confession shook the internet because Tamar didn't just talk about healing. Music, she actually opened up about years of emotional weight she's been carrying. Don't steal anything. You don't, you sold men. What? Who is the man that I stole? Tony's. You slept with them a few times. Who? What man? Do not get the lowdown. Oh, you're such a liar. She explained how Missy held on to resentment, especially toward their dad, and how growing up in that environment shaped the entire household. That kind of honesty from Tamar is rare. And you can tell she's done pretending everything was picture perfect. And let's be honest, Tamar has never been shy about letting the world see her life unfold in real time. Her relationship troubles with Vince, the issues with JR, the drama with her sisters, clashes with people in the industry, music. Everything has played out right in front of the fans. She never hid how messy life could get, even when it made her look bad. But this year she cranked things up again. Tamar stirred the internet when she called out Funky Denver, hinting someone might have tried to harm her after a night out, and even dropped allegations about connections to men music, tied to Tony. The internet practically froze when she said it because Tamar doesn't just speak, she drops bombs. Back during the early seasons of Braxton Family Values, all that energy made her the star of the show. People loved her jokes, her raw music reactions, her iconic one-liners. She brought a spark no one else could match. But over time, music, every new outburst made people wonder if she'd ever slow down. Yet music, just when they think they've seen it all, she shakes the room again with something new. And this time she turned the whole narrative upside down by saying Miss E might actually be the one who created the environment that made everyone so emotionally on edge. That revelation has fans looking at the family dynamic with new eyes, like they finally understand why the sisters move the way they do. Music, because if Tamar grew up carrying emotional wounds she never addressed, then maybe the problem music, child image people slapped on her, was never the full story. And realizing that changes everything. People are honestly stunned right now. And a lot music of folks are just worn out from Tamar's constant drama. She keeps saying she's on a healing journey, music, but many are convinced she's spiraling instead of growing. I've even heard people say she needs real support because they feel she drains every room music she walks into. It's like they believe she doesn't recognize when she's being harsh, yet she music always claims someone is coming for her. And let's be real, Tamar is close to 50, and somehow she ends up falling out with almost everybody music she interacts with. That pattern alone has people saying she's not changing anytime soon. Her dramatic music moments aren't shocking anymore, but fans are warning that if she doesn't calm things down, she might lose whatever positive image she music still has left. But in pure Tamar style, she's not sitting back quietly while people talk about her. Not for 1 second. Music, instead, she's flipping the whole conversation by pointing the finger at everyone else, especially at her mother, Evelyn. Music Tamar is basically saying their family issues didn't start with her. They started long before she was even grown. And the wild part, she's claiming music. This is the first time she's fully connected her own behavior to how she was raised, which is a major thing for her to admit publicly. She's talked about watching her mother hold on to pain for music, years, and how those grudges shake the entire household. The biggest example Tamar brings up is how Evelyn music, never fully healed from the end of her marriage with Michael Braxton. That breakup didn't music just affect 2 people. Tamar says it spilled into the way every music sister learned to handle conflict and resentment, and hearing that out loud hits differently music, because think about it. Evelyn and Michael's divorce happened more than 2 decades ago music, after she found out he was cheating. But the anger never faded. Even now, people say the bitterness Evelyn carries music toward Michael is intense, and it influenced the emotional tone of their whole family. Tamar and her sisters weren't just watching music, their mother be upset. They grew up absorbing all of that tension. Even Tony, who presents herself as the calm, polished, unbothered sister, has had her messy moments too. She's just smoother about it and doesn't let it explode in public the same way. But it shows the pattern didn't start with tomorrow. The energy was already there, and every sister picked up a piece of it in their own way. And it gets even heavier. When Evelyn and Michael were divorcing, she allegedly made the kids choose sides. Anyone who tried to stand with their father instantly got the coldest treatment from her. That right there shows how deep her resentment ran. And according to people close to the family, this is a major reason why Evelyn and Tracy struggled to get along, because Tracy refused to cut off her relationship with their dad. Can I ask you something, Miss Evelyn? Do you know what her pain is? Because the only reason a person would behave in this manner, we're not going to throw this behavior word around again. We're not going to do that. She does not have a behavior problem, and that's not fair. First of all, your finger in my face is not going to work for me. But the name calling is not going to work for me because I don't appreciate you keep throwing out these names. That is what about my disrespect? I have been disrespectful. I've been called. Wait a minute. Tracy lived closest to him in Maryland, and she kept that connection strong no matter how Evelyn felt about it. And from what's been shared, Evelyn wasn't happy about that at all. There are even claims she held onto that anger all the way up until Tracy passed, which adds a heartbreaking layer to everything. When you look at all these pieces together, it paints a much bigger picture. Tamar is only now starting to reveal even if it shocks everybody listening. Tamar, being the youngest in the family, added a whole different layer to this story because during all that chaos, she stuck beside her mother completely. Anything she did, anything she planned, anything she wanted to say, she allegedly ran it through Miss Eve first. And that created a bond that wasn't just close, it turned into something people now describe as full-on emotional dependency. That connection shaped how Tamar handled the world, and it followed her well into adulthood. But according to Tamar, the issues in the house weren't only about anger and resentment. She says Miss E loved being the loudest voice in the room and believed she was right about everything, no matter the situation. And if Tamar dared to have an opinion that didn't fit that script, her mother shut it down instantly. Miss E expected her daughters, especially Tamar, to follow her word without hesitation, like it was the only option they had. And it wasn't easy for any of the sisters to push back because their mother constantly reminded them of how she raised 6 kids alone after Michael Sr. walked away. That guilt sat heavy, especially on Tamar, who was the baby of the family. Growing up in that environment shaped her reactions, her emotions, and the way she handles conflict even today. That kind of pressure sticks with a person, And Tamar is finally admitting how much it affected her. What makes this even wilder is that even after more than 2 decades, the tension hasn't faded. Evelyn still shows a lot of anger when it comes to the past, and that frustration spills over, especially onto her daughters. Every emotional moment, every argument, every misunderstanding seems to trace back to those long-standing wounds that the family never fully healed from. And now that Tamar is speaking openly, people are actually agreeing with her. They can see how Evelyn might have unintentionally set the tone for the disrespect and emotional confusion the family deals with today. The way she reacted to her own pain seems to have trickled down into her daughters' lives, shaping how they handle resentment, loyalty, and conflict. That's a heavy thing to realize, especially when most people always